Well, bears are all over the news recently, but today I'm going to talk all about what you can do if you find yourself face to face with a bear in Japan's mountains. Tozan tips. There are two types of bears in Japan's mountains. The first is the higuma, or the brown bear, which lives on the island of Hokkaido. And the second is the Asiatic black bear, or the Tsukinoaguma. The brown bears are bigger and can be a bit more ferocious. However, on the island of Hokkaido, the majority of the forest is natural broadleaf, very healthy and dense forests, so the bears have plenty to eat. You may encounter a bear in the mountains of Hokkaido in Tozan and maybe some smaller mountains, but it's highly unlikely. The Asiatic black bear, on the other hand, is mostly limited to the island of Honshu. There's a very small population on the island of Shikoku, and there used to be bears in Kyushu, but now they're thought to have been extinct. Majority of Asiatic black bears live in the northern part of Japan, in the Tohoku and Chubu regions. The Asiatic black bears prefer broadleaf forests, like you can see behind me, beech and oak. They don't like cedar plantations, which is 40% of Japan's forest on the island of Honshu. Japan is almost 70% forested land, so there's plenty of land for the bears to live. However, this year, there have been a lot of black bears coming out of the mountains and into the foothills looking for food, and that's where the majority of the bear encounters have occurred this season. So because of all the news recently, you may think you're going to run into a bear hiking in Japan's mountains. The truth of the matter is you're probably not going to run into a bear. I've been hiking in Japan for 25 years, climbed about 500 different mountains. I've only seen a bear one time. Fortunately, it was a very far encounter, about 200 or 300 meters away, and the bear just walked on safely in front of me. I stayed and waited. So the likelihood of you encountering a bear is very, very low. However, if you are concerned about bear encounters, I will tell you what to do if you do find yourself in that very unlikely position to encounter a bear while hiking in Japan. The first and most popular option is to carry a bear bell with you. Bear bells are quite noisy, so I recommend testing them out before you buy one, and find one that has a pleasant chime to it, because while you're hiking, it will be ringing constantly. I have this cowbell from Switzerland, and it makes quite a nice sound when I use it. I generally don't use a bear bell unless I'm hiking in an area where I know that there are bears. My local mountains don't have any bears, so I never use this when I'm hiking. Generally, if you use a bear bell, you're gonna scare away bears, plus any other animals you might see, like deer and mountain sparrow and badgers and other creatures. But if you're hiking by yourself, I highly recommend bringing one of these along, just in case. You can always put it on when you feel like you're in an area where a bear might appear, and take it off later. In addition to carrying a bear bell, if you would like peace of mind, you can consider carrying some bear spray. I have a small bottle of, it's basically just pepper spray, that I carry with me when I'm in bear habitat. I can strap this on to the belt of my pants, and it loops on here, and I can carry this mostly for peace of mind. I've never had to use it, like I said, but if you do encounter a bear, it's something that you could use if you're in that situation. Some older Japanese hikers carry a radio with them, and they listen to music or listen to the radio broadcast while they hike. That's perfectly okay, as long as you keep the volume at acceptable levels. Another easy thing that you can do is hike in a group, at least with a friend or a group of 3 or 4. That way, if you encounter a bear, safety in numbers. Plus, if you're hiking with a partner, you're probably going to be talking together, which will scare away the bears and everything else that you might encounter. If the preventative measures don't work and you find yourself encountering a bear, I'll talk about what you can do. So if you do encounter a bear, the most common bear encounter is going to be what I call a far encounter. You're going to encounter them at least 100 meters or further away while you're hiking. You may see them in the middle of the trail, you may see them off into a meadow far away. When that happens, you're usually in a safe distance unless you happen to see some bear cubs around. The mothers will be protective of their offspring. However, if you see just one bear, you're probably safe enough away where you can just stop and wait for the bear to move on. Maybe take a picture if you have your camera. You can try to make some noise to scare it away. If you don't think that the bear is going to go away on its own, clap your hands, scream, "Woo!" Or shake your bear bell if you need it. So if you have a very far encounter, 9 times out of 10 the bear is going to run away, and you can watch it, feel a little bit of adrenaline building up in your body, and just wait until the bear moves on. Or if the bear doesn't move on and you don't feel safe, just slowly back away and tell yourself, you know what, the mountains can always wait. I can come back another day. So you really have to judge your own comfort level when you're out hiking. The second and more dangerous encounter is a close encounter 50 meters or closer. And that's when the majority of bear attacks do occur. If you surprise a bear, you're walking along the trail, not making any noise, and you turn a corner and the bear is right there, then there is a chance that it could attack you. Or if you're hiking and you see a cute little baby bear cub and you said, oh, look at that little baby bear cub, and then you turn around and the mama bear is right there. So if you get between the baby cub and the mama bear, then that is a very high likelihood that you will get attacked. If you encounter a bear up close, there are varying strategies that people recommend. Some people recommend fighting, some people recommend crawling up in a ball and protecting your neck and your head. Others recommend making a lot of noise, making yourself appear big. Now, a lot of bear attacks are ambushes, so you never even see the bear coming. It just comes out, you turn the corner, encounter the bear looks at you and just attacks you. Those are really, really hard to prepare for. In that case, you probably don't have time to use bear spray or to protect yourself so much, so you may just have to fight. Try to get the bear away from you as quickly as you can. If you're going to fight with an Asiatic black bear or a brown bear, you can protect yourself by carrying trekking poles as a makeshift weapon if you'd like. If you're out filming and you have a tripod, you can use that as well. If you do have time to protect yourself, I recommend using your backpack to protect your internal organs. If you have time to turn your backpack around like this, then at least it's going to protect your internal organs if the bear swipes at you, which it's most likely to do. You try to keep the bear away from your face and your neck as well. You can duck down if you need to, or use the trekking poles to try to create a little bit of distance between yourself. In addition, if you come across a bear encounter up close and the bear just kind of stops and looks at you for a few minutes, it does give you a little bit of time to take out your bear spray. Most bear sprays have a locking mechanism, so you've got to be able to pull this off and then be able to spray it and engage it. Bear spray comes in a variety of sizes. This is a much smaller bottle, which is not going to spray a large distance. However, if the bear is between here and this tree, for example, I can use that to try to spray into the eyes and the snout of the bear, the most sensitive part of the bear's body. Alternatively, if you feel like the bear is going to pounce on you, you could just spray yourself and scream in pain, and hopefully that'll scare the bear away. However, that's not my recommended solution. I would recommend, as soon as you see a bear encounter, you're going to enter that fight or flight response. So fighting, use what you have. Flight is not recommended because bears can run up to 40 kilometers per hour. So you're not going to outrun a bear, even if you do encounter it. If you're hiking with a group, however, you only need to run faster than the slowest member of your party. So if you're hiking in a group of 4 and 3 of you run off, you'll leave that one poor soul to suffer the fate. I don't recommend that as well, because your friend will be very angry with you if they live to tell the tale. Most of the research suggests not fighting the bear if you can brace yourself for impact. Keep your pack on and crouch down, cover your neck and your head, and brace like this. Try to keep your hands from getting mauled as well. So I would recommend using your fist and kind of holding it like this And hopefully the bear will just scratch you lightly and run away. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of research because people who don't survive bear attacks don't get to tell their story of what they did and did not do. So for the fight or flight response, fighting, running away, your body might also freeze. You might be petrified by fear, which might be okay. If that happens and you do come to your senses and you're able to brace yourself, that would be the best thing to do. However, stopping and being petrified by fear might make the bear have second thoughts about attacking you, but it's hard to tell. And as a last ditch effort, fawning, you may try to appease the bear. This usually just works for people that are trying to attack you or mug you. Someone has you at gunpoint, you can try to reason with them. You can't really reason with a bear, however, you may be able to offer it a snack. So if the bear comes up to you and say, "Hey bear, would you like an animal cracker?" And hopefully it might run away. So those are just some quick recommendations if you do find yourself in an unfortunate situation of encountering a bear up close and personal. However, in a real situation, all of the advice I'm giving you today is probably going to go out the window. So I highly recommend just doing whatever you feel like is right in that moment, whether it be fighting or crouching down, bracing for impact, or screaming, or whatever else comes to mind in that split instant that you find yourself in that situation. But basically, most people that die from bear attacks are dying from blood loss. So make sure you protect your internal organs and your femoral arteries in your legs and also your jugular. Well, that's it for another edition of Tozan Tips, a timely and hopefully important tip for all of you guys hiking out there in Japan. Remember, bears do exist. However, your likelihood is very, very low. So you don't have to be scared to go to Japan's mountains. You just have to take a few precautions, maybe bring a bell, invest in some spray, and observe the surroundings around you. Thanks for watching. Where's that bear? I thought there was a bear around here. Tozan Tips. Where did it go?